Right now, hospital operations at Lutheran Hospital in Wheat Ridge are back to normal after a lockdown this morning. Police in Wheat Ridge say around 8:15 this morning, someone called saying they saw a person with what looked like a holstered gun go into the hospital. The building was immediately locked down. Police came in, found the witness, then swept the building room by room. They found what they called the suspicious person and confirmed there was no gun. Police gave the all clear about 2 hours after the lockdown started. Police say the witness did the right thing by calling it in. RTD's top cop is no longer with the department. RTD says Chief Joel Fitzgerald is no longer the chief of the transit agency. They did not offer any specifics about his departure, whether he was fired or resigned. Fitzgerald has been on leave since early July, though it's still unclear why. When we asked, the agency refused to answer. Fitzgerald has been with RTD since August 2022. During his time, RTD has expanded its security and added officers on duty 24/7. Right now, the families of 10 people killed in the King Soopers shooting are closer to potentially getting justice. Attorneys are giving their closing remarks, and soon the fate of the shooter will be in the jury's hands. Jurors got their instructions from the judge early this morning, and now they're hearing the closing arguments. Ahmad Alyssa faces 10 counts of first-degree murder and dozens of other charges. Multiple doctors agreed he has schizophrenia. The man pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Prosecutors contend he was sane. Defense attorneys argued he wasn't. The jury heard from both sides.
This is fun. This is so fun. Statements Mr. Alyssa made during the mass shooting, the pharmacist Sarah Chin told you about, you're sick. You're sick. Doesn't mean insane. Mental illness does not mean insane. Schizophrenia does not mean insane. Even severe schizophrenia does not mean insane.
Insanity is the only explanation for this tragedy. What happened on March 22nd of 2021 was a tragedy.
When the case goes to the jury, they'll have to make a decision on each of the charges against the shooter. Here are some of their options. They can find him not guilty, meaning he didn't do it, or the state failed to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. Another option is not guilty by reason of insanity, meaning they concluded he did it, but the defense presented credible evidence he was insane at the time and prosecutors failed to prove otherwise. They can also find him guilty. If jurors find the shooter guilty, the judge only has one option to sentence him to spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole. Now, we do have crews in place as the closing arguments continue. We will bring you any updates right here on 9 News. You can also catch up on this case on 9news.com. New at noon, Aurora police say they now know who some of the people are in the most infamous video that shows men with guns entering an apartment last month. The video shows 6 men entering a unit at an apartment building at near 12th and Dallas. This all happened last month. The widespread release of the video really caused the story of Venezuelan gangs in the city to go national. Today at a press conference, Aurora's brand new police chief said they know who the 3 people are. 1 is in custody and 2 have an active warrant for their arrest. As of now, he says he cannot say if any of them are part of the Venezuelan gang known as TDA.
That is a challenge. Many of these individuals that we are talking about come from a country which does not have strong relationships with the United States, come from a country that does not have a database that they are going to share or have shared. So being able to identify these actual individuals as TDA gang members has been a struggle.
Police say 10 minutes after the video was recorded, there was a shooting at the same apartment complex involving a gun they later found in an oven. Now, we'll have more on this developing story throughout the day. You can count on 9news.com as well. Right now, a live look at the high country and the Denver metro area. It is calm out there today, so definitely take advantage. Get out today because tomorrow that's likely going to change. So we're talking about snow in the high country, rain around here. So let's get over to meteorologist Keely Chalmers. Keely, we are looking at a weather impact day this
Yes, we are. Certainly tomorrow afternoon into Sunday morning as we have a significant storm system moving through. So yes, out there right now, up in the high country, we are looking at sunshine, dry conditions. That will be changing Saturday night into Sunday morning. Expect some wet, slushy snow up in the mountains. We're looking at accumulating snow up there in the high country. Current temperatures out there right now, we are warming up into the 80s across the plains, 60s and 70s up in the mountains. Your forecast for the Denver metro area today, partly cloudy, 88 degrees. Your forecast high, a little bit breezy, those winds out of the east up to 20 miles per hour. So looking futurecast today, we still got high pressure dominating our weather pattern. That is going to change again as we have that storm system moving in. That's why we're calling Saturday, tomorrow afternoon into Sunday morning, weather impact days. And that is because we have heavy rain developing in and around the metro area. We also have heavy mountain snow above about 9,000 feet. We also have some lower elevation snow closer to 7,000 feet, so that could impact a little bit of travel there as well. And we're looking at windy conditions at times, mainly as that storm system moves through. So again, we do have rain, warm temperatures today, rain in the forecast, and fall actually arrives Sunday morning. We'll talk more about that and kind of break down the timeline and when the rain and snow arrives coming up in your full forecast in just a bit.
So much. The upside of the coming rain is it could give crews in Larimer County the ammunition they need to really get the Pearl fire under control. So right now, containment stands at 25%, and the acreage really hasn't changed since it sparked on Monday. The fire started on a private land in Crystal Lakes area. It has nearly burned 130 acres and damaged one building on the property of the person believed to have started it. Evacuation orders have been substantially pulled back since this fire started, though some still remain. In about an hour, Leona Scott, the contractor accused of stealing from the victims of the Marshal fire, is set to be arraigned. The Boulder County Sheriff's Office arrested him in late June. They say he had 4 separate contracts with 4 property owners who were rebuilding after losing their homes. Deputies say he took their money and never finished the work that he promised. In all, they say he stole $1.3 million. Investigators also say the 63-year-old was improperly licensed to build homes in Boulder County. Also today, the former owners of the Return to Nature funeral home in Penrose are scheduled to be back in court on state charges that they face. John and Carrie Halford are accused of improperly storing nearly 200 decomposing bodies in their former funeral home. They already received a plea deal on federal charges. Now they're being offered deals from the state. In the email obtained by 9 News Investigates, prosecutors told the victims they will be requesting an additional plea date at today's hearing and will extend the state's plea offer until the new court date, which hasn't been announced yet. According to that email, if the two were to accept the plea deal, each would plead guilty to 190 counts of abuse of a corpse, which is a felony. John would then be sentenced to 20 years in prison. Carrie would get 15 to 20 years. Sheila Canfield-Jones, a victim in the case, says she wasn't surprised the two were offered a deal.
My daughter was there for 4 years, piled on top of somebody else, decaying, and she's only worth 1.25 months worth of jail time for these monsters. I don't get that at all. I don't understand that at all.
In a separate case, the couple is also facing federal charges of fraud for misusing COVID relief money. They're set to be back in court on October 24th for a change of plea hearing on those federal charges. Today's arraignment hearing on the state charges is scheduled for 1:30 in El Paso County. Right now, a hearing is in session in Boulder County Court concerning an off-campus student apartment. The city wants to shut down Ash House, which is on University Hill, for safety. The owners are fighting it. Now, on Monday, the city told students living at the Ash House they had to leave. The city says the property owner added additional bedrooms without city approval. After the students moved out, a judge granted a temporary restraining order requested by the property owner. Students were allowed to move back in while the order was challenged in court. Now, the hearing on that order was originally scheduled for next week, but the city wanted it sooner, and the court granted that request, putting it on the docket today. So that hearing is happening actually right now and is expected to last another half an hour or so. We do have a crew there, and we'll bring you the updates here on 9 News.